Hey guys, Eric Temple here, and what I'm going to talk about really quick today is why I don't think the band-resisted deadlift or distracted deadlift or RDL, whatever you want to call it, reactive neuromuscular training, in this instance really isn't the most beneficial in terms of teaching people what actually happens in the deadlift or RDL and how to apply force to their feet. Again, legs, hips, everything being primary from the lower half, and then this being secondary. So in my mind, what this exercise does is makes this, right, the arms, the back, the primary mover, and it tends to ignore what's happening at our lower half. So a lot of people are so worried about creating lat tension or upper back tension that they begin to pull everything. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So you set the dowel rod right between the band. Your client is told to pull the weight back into him. The band is trying to pull you towards the squat rack. You have to pull the weight back in to create lat tension. From there, you move through your lumbopelvic hip complex. Good hip hinge. Keep the bar enclosed. Don't let it drift away. And then pull that bar back into your hips. Okay? So with all those cues that I just told my client, the one thing that their brain remembers throughout that whole entire set is pull. Pull the band, pull the weight, pull the bar back into you. The brain receives a message that says pull. So when they do an RDL or a deadlift, the load is now received a little bit differently through the body. Instead of it being through our feet because we forgot about good force application, it's now received through our lower back. So when you start to load a bar with a lot of weight and you tell people to pull the bar back into them, the first thing that's going to load the body is your back, right? You're trying to control the weight with your arms and your back, but in my mind, the back is there as a support system. The back is a very important piece, but it's just there to maintain the weight that you're holding. The arms are just like an extension of your body. It's like a string or a rope, and your hands are the only connection to the weight that you're holding. Okay, so we work with two former rowers at AMP, and what I do to relate the deadlift or to help them understand the deadlift a little bit better is related to the drive phase in rowing. So what the drive phase is when you start to push through your feet and your knees extend, that's when they start to get after it and they pull the weight back. But in reality, we're not pulling the weight with our arms in a deadlift. But until that happens, what they do, their hands are the connection to the oar or the erg machine, and their arms just an extension of their support system, which is their back, and they drive through their feet, knees extend. So if we can take that same thing and relate it to the deadlift, maybe it's not so much about what's going on here. This is an important piece. Your back is an important piece to maintain the weight that you're holding. Okay, we don't want to see people folded over, of course. We want to see people maintain a good back position, but it's not all about the back. It's all about the legs. Okay, once we understand to create good back position, it's all the feet from there. Okay, so this drill tends to ignore what really needs to happen. So the bar should actually drift slightly away from your body in any type of RDL or deadlift variation. So the load is received through the entire system instead of just the back when you're pulling the weight. Okay, so what it's supposed to look like, I'll show you how most people coach it. Pull the weight into your body, shift your hips back, keep the bar in close, pull the bar back into you. Okay, so when you start to load that up with heavy weight, people are going to start to lose, people are going to receive that load a little bit differently through their back, okay, and it's because they're trying to control the weight with their back instead of their entire system. So instead, you still want to move through your hips well, hips back, chest forward, let the bar fall right over the middle of the foot, and then push through your feet and get your hips to the bar instead of pushing the bar, trying to get the bar back into your hips. So again, hips back, chest forward, keep the bar over the middle of the foot, push through your feet, get your hips to the bar, okay? You also got to realize what you're giving up when you're loading that much weight and telling people to pull the bar into them through the whole set. The most important thing you're giving up is this, good core position. Again, so we talk about how extension with load, especially shear force, is a bad thing. So the last thing that we really want to give up is our front side. If we lose our abs now become our back. that's the last thing we want. The load is all here. We want to keep that bar right over the middle of the foot. The load is now received differently, push through your feet. Okay? Again, this might be a good drill for teaching lat tension, but in terms of teaching people how to move through their hips with a loaded bar, maybe it's not the most beneficial. Okay? So it's a different strategy, a different thought process, but that's how I'm thinking in terms of what's actually going on if you have a bar in front of you doing an RDL or a deadlift from the floor. So hopefully that made sense, guys. Thanks for listening.